What's going on? I'm Spencer Tillis.
I'm Angela Santoro.
I'm Trayvon Miles.
And this is the Delmarva Sports Insider. Coming up in just a bit in today's episode, Sussex Central is back to work this week as they are having a tough matchup against Polytech. We'll have those highlights.
And we'll have more on one Stephen Decatur basketball player who made history while taking on Washington Thursday night, coming up in just a bit.
And the town of Georgetown ain't big enough for the two of them. Central and Tech square off on the mat. One team wins big. Highlights on the way.
So we're going to start things off with basketball right now. We are getting ready for week 3 already. I mean, the season, there's a little funky one to start off there. I mean, it was just like a day of basketball for week 1, but it is starting to get to that point in the season where some of the teams that you didn't really expect are starting to kind of separate themselves. Some of the teams you expect to be at the top of there, and the teams that you expected to be at the top, we'll get to your alma mater here in a second, are nowhere near it at this point in the season right now. But let's start off with one of those teams we were talking about, Milford. I mean, they came into this season with a lot of expectations, looking to pick up yet another good conference road win actually last night when they were at Lake Forest. And the Spartans, well, they'd be on the attack early on. And this thing, Dom Griffith gets that bucket right there and gets the nice finish to help the home team out. But it would be a tight ball game at the break. The Bucks get going in the second half. Devin Kravitz kicks it over to Breon Murray. The corner 3 ball finds nothing but nylon, and that is good. But Lake on the comeback trail. Cam Lewis, a strong move. The and one finish right there, hitting the weight room and showing it off. Milford not going to go away, though. San Martinez finds Kravitz on the cut right there. He powers through, and that's an and one finish. Milford then putting the finishing touches on what would be a great road win. David Shockley, the crossover, step back, bottoms up right there. The Bucks take it. 74-60 the final. And you know what? Like we said, we came into the season expecting Milford to, be challenging for that element South. I mean, they won it last year with pretty much the exact same team coming back. They really didn't have any seniors that were in real rotation too much for them last year. And they're starting to look that way again. I mean, they're looking very tough. They had a very difficult, road loss early on in the week at Cape, an OT one where they had their chances in that one that they maybe probably should have pulled out. But at least that was a non-conference as far as that opens out. They're looking good right now. It looks like it might come down to them and Seaford, which is going to be a very fun matchup when those two kind of finally square off.
Definitely. I can imagine what's going to be going on the court. Lots of talking between them. We're going to take things over to Maryland. Decatur look to keep their perfect season alive while taking on Washington on Thursday night, and the game was special for the Seahawks. Now, it was the first game back for the Bayside Player of the Year. The point guard himself, Torrey Brittingham, returns to the court and did not miss a beat. He goes baseline and gets a nice land for his first points of the season. He'll be back calling plays. Jaquan Johnson slips one into Darian McKenzie inside the key for the bucket. The Jags would be hanging in there, though. Jordan Sterling drives the lane and gets a nice finish. But Decatur was not messing around. They were all business. Keon Ely, maybe one of my favorite players to watch, and this is why he got the block there. He hustles down the court, finishes it off with a layup, and then he would actually get back again, and he would get another block, which is just absolutely insane, as Decatur got the win 80-40. Now, personally, and I know you guys feel the same way, it was awesome to see Torrey Brittingham back on the court. It's something that we've all been anticipating, but to see him out there, to see that smile on his face, just really gives me the chills. Now, again, this team is just so talented to watch, and it's so much fun to watch. They were ridiculous before Torrey got there, and we were talking about this before, but I mean, now that he's back, it just seems like the chemistry is going to flow. He's going to be calling out plays. It's going to be more disciplined, I think, and I think personally, and I know you disagree, but I think that they're the best on the Bayside.
We'll find out.
We'll get there.
We'll find out Monday.
We're definitely going to say, well, like you said, everybody's happy that the point guard is back. I mean, he is the point guard, a Delmarva Sports Insider legend. We move north now to Colonel and Easton, two teams with some early losses early on, looking to finish strong before the Christmas break. First quarter, winding down, Easton's Ryan Forrest showing off the range, beats the buzzer all net. Warriors would lead 17-12 after one, courtesy of that shot. Colonel, though, started to find their groove. Terrell Hammond drives through the lane, ties things up at 17. Later in the period, Hammond, he'd find A.J. Palmer underneath. Colonel led this game 29-24 at half. Second half, Easton would get it going. The ball finds its way to Jack Wheatley in the corner. He knocks down the triple. Team high 13 points for him. Easton escapes American corner with the W. They win it 55-53. And you know what? I was talking to a friend of the show, Mr. David Dickerson. He DM'd me.
Legend.
We were talking a little bit about how good Colonel can be, but just for the very fact that, they hung with Decatur for a while before ultimately the doors got blown off of that game. A couple ejections in that game kind of led to that happen. Not saying Decatur wouldn't have beat them regardless, but a couple ejections definitely led that score to be what it was a little bit more. This game against Easton, winning the game throughout, and then another ejection. You know what I mean? So these players have to learn to keep their cool. As good as this team can be, they had to learn how to stay on the floor the whole game.
They might have been better off if they were a 2A school, because 1A, I mean, you just got to deal with Pocomoke, you got to deal with Kent County this year, two teams that it's going to be difficult for anyone trying to get through them. Well, there's also a surprise on the rise down here in the South. Parkside, a team that has a bunch of middle school kids looking age out there out of nowhere, graduated everybody. Well, undefeated at the start of the year, looking to keep that going when they took on Mardela on Thursday. And this thing turned into the Gary Brydell highlight reel. Gets the huge layup right there at the end one, the 3-ball in the corner, going to get those as well. And then he gets another layup, career high 34 points for him. He also had a double-double, 11 rebounds. Paul Morgan had it going as well, gets to the cup, finishes for 2 of his career high 20. But he left 6 seconds left on the clock. Mardela walks it up the court, decides to fire from mid-range. And Tyler Ennis, you are a bad, bad man for that right there. High percentage shot. The Rams, though, just continue to pull it on. The Pipey right there gets the and-one finish. The Rams roll 97-40 the final.
And Thursday, Sussex Tech faced Cape Henlopen. Drew Malky gets the first points of the game here. That would be followed up with Randy Richards. He gets the ball down low and banks it in for 2 to take an early lead. But the Ravens storm back with a 10-0 run. Khalil Bolden drops it into Cameron Williams. He faces up and goes to work. And then Bolden would be back to get some for himself. Top of the arc, and he knocks down the 3. We'd be tied up at 34 at half, but Cape pulled off the road win. Ian Robertson gets the putback finish as the Vikings win by 1, 73-72.
Wonder how I got this game. Snow Hill hosting Wahai last night. Amir Fisher in transition finds Takai Wise underneath the basket. Wise with 12 points on the night. Snow Hill still cooking in the second. It's going to be Almonte Allen coming around the curl. Going to get this shimmy and a step back for 2. Allen had 11. Eagles go up by 12. Wahai on the comeback trail now. Kevin Land, nice up and under move. He finished with 11 points. And Wahai playing without senior forward Barry Gaines, trying to stay afloat. Jordan Brittingham dials up a 3-ball from the corner. That cut the lead, but this young man, Fisher, had himself a game. Loses the dribble, but stops on a dime to drain the jumper. 26 points. Snow Hill beats Wahai for the first time since 2010. They win it 72-64. Hey.
How you doing, big guy? How you doing? How you doing right now?
Can we roll on, man? Let's roll on.
Commercial break. You're right. Well, why don't we go ahead and get to that first one? We're still going to talk a little high school hoops on the other side, and we're going to get to those power rankings. I got a feeling Wahai might not beat them this week.
This is Coach Dave Byer, head coach of Parkside High School, here watching Delmarva Sports Insider.